Okay, we'll get going. Great. Well, some informative stuff there, and I'm certainly learning a lot all the time, and there's more to come. So right now, I'd like to introduce Dave Howden of SupaHuman AI, who will come and tell us about some of the great work that they're doing. Welcome, Dave.
Cool. Thank you, Zan. Welcome back, everyone, after the break. I'll do an Adam, as it's now referred to, of turning this mic off. Just press it, Yeah, we're on? We're good to go. Okay, cool. Welcome back, everyone. So 20 minutes. Normally, we kind of cover this level of content in around 90 minutes. So we're going to make it really, really kind of pointy. Before we get into it, I just kind of want to preface this comment that we make here around smart people doing dumb stuff. And throughout the next 20 minutes, we were going to refer to that a fair amount, but I want to put your brains to work because I'm not here to talk at you for 20 minutes. I want you really to leave with something where you can actually identify in your organizations where you may have smart people doing dumb stuff. Because ultimately, all we're here to talk about really in the next 19 minutes or so is where you can identify the limitations of a human being. That really is the value that we're here to unlock, is where do you have these smart people in your business doing dumb stuff. So I'm going to frame what we mean by dumb stuff, because this phrase kind of makes no sense unless we kind of quantify that. I have these little digits on the end of my hands, and I have these two eyes. They are essentially my limiting factor. I can only read so quickly, and I can only type so fast. So when it comes to doing actual work and the tasks that are needed to execute across an organization, not necessarily specific to manufacturing, but all of the peripheral things around that, if you had something at your fingertips which wasn't limited by your biology, which is the speed at which you can type and the speed at which you can digest information, think how you can put that to work to help your smart people not do that dumb stuff. That is what we're here to talk about, and kind of lay that ground and point that back to the work that Adam brought to the table around digital transformation, and how when you have an AI that is aware of your headless data structure, which is ultimately what we're asking for here, how would you put that to work to do the things, do the work? Not do the job. The job is different. We'll kind of come on to that in a minute, but do the work that gets the job executed. So let's put the grey matter to work. I think it's important that you guys lean into this. If there's any questions, just throw them at me. We'll kind of go through them as we see fit. And I'm committed to making sure you guys leave with some form of value from this next 20 minutes of your investment. AI for us and the industry right now feels a little bit like teenage sex. Now, I say that for a reason, because the amount of times we go to a conference these days and AI is talked about, whether it's manufacturing, retail, commerce, tech, non-tech, it doesn't matter. You go to a conference and artificial intelligence is talked about. That's not a wholly helpful thing, because the person next to you will be claiming things that they're doing that they're just not actually doing. They'll be saying they're doing these wonderful things, they're not. And it takes us back to a time when this was a very similar topic. And I say it to be provocative because it's designed to kind of get the thoughts flowing, but it's pretty legitimate. That whole tension of, am I missing out, am I not, am I realizing value, am I not, is actually stalling you guys out, because the reality is the ones that are doing intelligence really, really well, they're not talking about it. They're just getting on and cracking on and getting it done, because it's their competitive advantage right now. And their competitive advantage means they're not just going to be shouting from the rooftops about all the great work that they're doing. So that kind of sets the scene. At SupaHuman, we built an organization to help smart minds free themselves from this tedious work, to remove the hype cycle and go, where do you have smart people doing dumb stuff? How do we apply technology in your digital transformation cycle to make that real, and to bring to life the fact that if you had a ChatGPT-like experience that knew your business intimately, very intimately, customer data, contracts, procedures, policies, IP, all of that, how powerful would that be? And that's what we started over a year ago, just around a year ago. And we've amassed a talent pool of nearly 30 people that carry a PhD in these technologies for the purposes of finding your business problems and putting our smart people to work to solve them for a highly economical price point. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of how we find business value for the use of AI, we'll just talk a little bit about why we exist. three kind of pillars of our organization. AI only, AI first, backed by AWS, Microsoft, and Google. We're here to represent the best technologies on the planet and meet you guys where you're at with your domain experience. What it takes to manufacture product, what it takes to make, move, and sell product, what that actually means, and how do we bring these force amplifiers together in your organizations to help you make more product, create more yield, ship product faster, reduce pain points within the production cycle. Now, I say it like I know what I'm talking about in terms of manufacturing. I don't. I'm a business guy who knows a little bit about intelligence, but I have a whole army of people that know a lot about how to build intelligence. When we put those technologies with your world, the magic tends to happen. Okay, so why do we care? Adam again talked about this. What goal are we kicking for? What's the growth drivers of your business strategy ahead of your technology strategy, right? That's what you were talking about. So three things that, to make it really simple, because I'm a simple guy, three things that I believe as business owners, which I think majority of you are carrying some form of business custodianship in your role, that we care about. A business strategy for growth, efficiency, and risk. I've never met a business that doesn't want to grow, be more efficient, or be more risky. Like no one wants to carry the opposites of any of those things. But with those things in mind, every technology that has come around, from the printed circuit board to electricity to the printing press, has had a role to play in each one of these things. How do I apply that technology to be more efficient, to manage my risk, to support my growth? So why is this important? It's important because the promise of artificial intelligence, specifically generative, the bit that allows you to remove the biology of your fingers and your eyes to create and read stuff, absolutely destroys all of these. Hyper growth opportunity, exceptionally lucrative ROI in terms of efficiency, and it knows stuff better than humans do, which makes the use of it actually the opposite of risky. It's the opposite way. And I'll tell you a quick story about that. I was working with a large financial asset management firm not many months ago who do tax advice. And he asked me, how accurate is AI when it comes to giving tax advice once trained? And I said, we could probably get it like 97, 98% accurate. And he went, that's good, because my tax advisors are 70% accurate. Which will be true, right? Because just income tax alone, there are 2,000 pieces of legislation for a human to get across. Growth, efficiency, and risk. The birth of large language models, which underpowers all of this stuff, is mightily powerful across all these things. That's creating the hype, which means the teenage sex analogy is true because it's just so powerful in what can be achieved that our job today is to kind of demystify that and make it a little bit real. So, why do we care? We need to figure out what goal we're kicking for. I say we can have our cake and eat it too. We can apply a huge amount of growth factor to all of these areas within your business. So what's possible? Let's talk about the magic first. So I've mentioned magic a few times. If in your organizations across manufacturing and the skill sets surrounding manufacturing, because ultimately, regardless of the sector, sales and operations and finance, they exist across every business. Wouldn't it be awesome if we could make faster decisions, have higher accuracy of work, get greater insights, and remove the tedious? I don't think it's tenable in this coming up year to have people paid to smash keyboards with their fingers. That's the reality of what's coming up here. And this is what we're working with all our clients. They're like, I don't want my people doing this tedious work. I don't want them taking weeks to make a decision because they can't get the insights from the business. I want the magic. Help me, SupaHuman, figure out how we do it. So we're going to start by looking at the first part of the equation. So the equation is going to be Gen AI plus something else equals the magic. So let's talk about generative AI for a minute. We're not going to go tech. We're just going to go about what the capability is. Generative AI has the ability to write at over 8,000 words per minute, consume libraries of information in seconds, and can tap into all of your enterprise data across any system, any place, when engineered correctly. Therefore, it knows like all of your information when we tell it, but at this point in time, if you're using something like ChatGPT, it doesn't know you at all. It doesn't know your business, doesn't know your enterprise data, doesn't know your policies and procedures. So generative AI on its own is powerful and magical, but kind of only good for dad jokes and air fryer recipes. Once you give it some context over your business, It becomes hugely powerful. Before you teach it that information, though, it will kind of do the things that you want a human to do. It will follow your rules. It will do what you ask it to do. It will find and recall information that it knows about very, very quickly and produce magical things. They're just probably not what you really, really want. So how do you get AI to do what you want? Well, you tell it. We take generative AI. Ultimately, what we mean by that is a large language model, which is the magic source in all of this. And we teach it your world, your products, your procedures, your processes, your legislative outlook, your compliance obligations, your board reporting standards, your accountabilities, your brand, your tone of voice. We teach it all of that. Now you have the perfect digital employee in your organization that can write marketing content. It can do SEO on your website. It can write job descriptions for your organization. It can help you manage one-to-ones with your staff. It can turn your current manufacturing documentation into Thai and German and French, and then translate it back into Tereo, all literally in seconds. Now that is how we create the end of tedious work for organizations. And still we can't get the clicker to work. And we call this, that formula, we call that organizational intelligence. Intelligence that knows you, your business, your world, and works for you. Secure, private, controlled, and fully trained on your enterprise data. Now, we looked at Epicor earlier on and the work that's doing inside of the ERP to drive that forward. Depth of automation inside of software like that is absolutely golden. There is also pockets of information outside of your ERP that when those things are brought together, just create even more magic. And what we're not saying here is replace intelligence from inside of your software because it's very specific and very, very focused. It needs to happen. That's just good software engineering. It's just good output. But everybody across your business deserves that intelligence. Marketing, sales, operations, finance, and admin, your exec who are writing board reports, your office admin who's writing policy. Everyone needs that, and they don't necessarily need to be down in the depths of a specific software product to do that. By bringing organizational intelligence to your business, the tide rises for everyone because all content and everything that's created is on brand, on point, on policy, all of the time, no ifs, ands, or buts. That's how it rolls, which is very unhuman because we're actually pretty useless in a way. We don't follow rules, we're late, we sleep in, we get sick. Technology doesn't seem to do that, which is great. But that itself can be a bit of an existential risk. Okay, so the question I want to kind of put through your minds is if you had that intelligence in your business, something that knew your world intimately, followed your rules, but could literally do anything when it comes to content reading and creation, how would you put it to work? When you put that to work, there's going to be a natural part of the equation of, well, who cares, Dave? Great, I can create job descriptions faster. What does that mean in reality? So now the job is to equate that into something that you can tangibly use as a business to aid investment. And how do we actually get this for ourselves? So we're going to take a look at that. Okay. We're going to go into a little bit of your word, Adam, around digital transformation. Let's talk about business cases around AI. So that previous question of if you had something that fully knew your business, how would you put it to work? Let's talk about the maths. So we'll build this diagram up quickly. Not that quickly. Okay. So when we talk about AI and bringing this organizational intelligence to life, we talk about how do you figure out how you pay for it and actually realize the value in terms of the return on investment. And we've got these three categories that we talk about. Before we get into categories, we've produced this assistant methodology on the board, which basically says, based on how much business value you can unlock and how feasible something is, let's start to categorize the thought process. So for example, if I have 50 people in my business and they spend 30% of their time on a task, and with organizational intelligence, you can make that 5%. That's 50 people that are impacted. 25% of time goes back into their diary. We know what those people get paid. Therefore, we can equate $1 to that. Let's say it's $500,000. Perfect. To unleash that $500,000, we need to spend $50,000. That makes sense. So I'm giving you that as an example, but this is the tooling we provide you to be able to do these equations on the fly. So we'll walk through what that means in reality. The first thing that we look at when we're looking at return on investment for bringing in something like organization intelligence into a manufacturing business is the people and the tasks inside the organization. So we talked earlier on about smart people doing dumb stuff. If you've got something in your mind where you have people doing mundane tasks that are limited by their eyes and by their fingers, start having a think about how many people are impacted, the percentage of the time that it takes, and the cost of that person. We're going to share with you later an AI return on investment calculator where you can plumb those numbers in and you can see the output of that for performing this. Now, based on how hard or feasible that is, we can kind of throw it into one of these columns and say, well, actually, if this is really difficult, then let's not do it. But actually, if we can do this in 4 to 6 weeks, and it's going to cost, 5% of the return, then let's just get to work and get it done, and we can make those decisions pretty quickly. The second thing about return on investment, it's not just all about the cost, it's about risk. So what kind of risks are you carrying in your business? The types of risk, the magnitude of the risk, the chance of it happening. And this comes down to things like, if you're exporting, how do you know that you're legally exporting properly? How do you know that you're meeting the obligations of your export agreements or you're doing things with, you've got agreements with council about how you discharge water in your factory, for example. How do you know that you've got to do a discharge consent document for them? All the kind of things. It's not a revenue thing, it's not a cost thing, it's just a pain in the ass. I don't want to do it, but I've got to do it. But if we get it wrong, well, front page of the Herald, brand damage, fines. Intelligence is very good at just not doing things wrong and doing it on time. But also the risk factor of actually doing nothing. Where was manufacturing 50 years ago? And where is it today? And look at the technology that's dribbled in over time that's got to a point where what a manufacturer looks like today. Can you see a world where in 18 months to 5 years' time, the use of intelligence for driving manufacturing is not going to be a status quo? And if you believe that, then right now, AI is an option. In the future, it's not. And it's just got to be table stakes. It's like trying to manufacture without electricity. It's just not a thing. I mean, I'm sure there is niche manufacturing, but you get my point. And the final thing is opportunity costs. There are things that you just won't be getting to in your business because it's too bloody hard. The opportunity came into the sales inbox. I want to respond to this RFQ. I haven't got the time to respond to this RFQ. That opportunity just leaves. If you could turn the opportunity around in 5 minutes, what does that create in terms of upside? So there is opportunity cost as well. The mixture of all those three things make up quite a compelling ROI case when you start to layer them. Now, I will say this. If you turn around and Google AI use cases in manufacturing, you will get generic stuff. Your business is your business, your IP is your IP, your methodologies are your methodologies. Therefore, there is no magic AI use case list. This is where we have to go to hand-to-hand combat and help you guys unpack that for yourselves. And that's why this normally takes 90 minutes to kind of figure it out. Okay, so a couple of minutes before we wrap up, and then we've got a parting gift. I'm just going to go back. Here we go. I can do it. I can do it. I can't do it.
Can the AI do it?
No, here we go. So everything I've just been talking, good question. Everything I've been talking about around AI ROI is now fully programmatically available to you guys via the SupaHuman website. This is a tool and a service we've provided to you, because actually part of the process with our clients has been like the talking is fine, but at some point we've actually got to do the maths and figure it all out. So this is actually quite simple. We've built an AI return on investment calculator for you on our website. Plumb in what sector you're in, how many people you have doing the task that you think AI can help with, and then play with the variables. If it takes 30 minutes and we can do it in 5 and it's across 50 people and you're paying them 100 grand each a year, look at what that can bring back into the bottom line of the P&L, and although have those people looking at other opportunities within your organization. So the tool contemplates 2 things: percentage of time. I have a person doing X for percentage of time, but also time per task. It takes me 3 days to do the board report. If I could automate all of that, what would that look like? Now that's impacted 1 person, so probably not the best use case. But the point being is, if you have a task that is taking far too long or you're doing it far too often, this will just give you a litmus, like literally a thumb suck about, okay, this feels like it's got legs to unpack. Now again, we would just spend hours with you guys unpacking these things and looking at the feasibility approach. So we're giving you just a sniff test about what this could look like. But this is now available at superhuman.com to take a look at. Feel free to go and take a look. And this is just a handful of customers that have gone through this process with us. You'll see that there's no commonality here really around sector and or vertical, but they all have one thing in common. They have smart people doing dumb stuff. They've realized that they can see good ROI from applying intelligence to their organization and building intelligence with our services. I'm out of time, so I'll skip through, but I'll leave you with a parting gift. So there are numerous assets that are really quite powerful to help you think about where you do have tedious work in your organization. If you take a scan of this QR code, they'll just be landed in your inbox. This is our ebook, which AI is like teenage sex ebook, great read. Technical and the AI return on investment workshop, which is this whole thing online again over a period of a little bit more time, and goes into all these things for repeat. But also you can access our 90-minute workshop where we come out to you and help you unpack some of this stuff on the way through. So in conclusion, before Monica kicks me off, in 2024 and beyond, there is a better way to do work. That's it. And on that basis, we really look forward to making sure we can support you with taking the power of this artificial intelligence technology and making it fit within inside of your workflow to stop your smart people from doing the dumb stuff. So thanks very much for your time, everyone. Appreciate we've kind of cantered through it. But any questions, look forward to answering them on the panel later. Cool. Thanks, everyone.